Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Johns Hopkins School of Education, Master of Science in Education, Digital Age Learning and Educational Technology, also known as DAILIT, Virtual Information Session. My name is Sion John. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions here at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Also, I have my colleague from the Office of Admissions, and he will introduce himself.
Thank you, Sion. Hello, everyone. Welcome and good afternoon. My name is James McCarty. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions here at Johns Hopkins at the School of Education. I want to just say congratulations, because you being here today is a huge first step in taking, that next journey in your academic and professional career. And my big takeaway, my message for you today is that even though this is a big step, looking at, continuing your education in a program, I promise that you are never going through this process alone. In my role, I'm really the liaison for the admissions office to work with applicants for the DAILIT program. And I look forward to connecting with all of you and working with you every step of the way through the admissions process. So please feel free to stay connected. I'll be reaching out after our webinar today, and my contact information will be on the last slide of our presentation. So enjoy the presentation today. Thank you again for being here, and I look forward to working with you through the admissions process. Back to you, Sion.
Thank you, James. Finally, presenting today, we have Professor and Program Lead, Dr. Jim Diamond. And before we get started, I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. First, today's webinar is being recorded. We'll be able to share a link to the recorded video after the event is complete. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please type your question in the chat box and we will answer your questions. I would like to share the agenda for today's virtual webinar. We'll kick off the presentation sharing an overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Then Dr. Diamond will go over information on the DAILIT program. And lastly, we'll wrap it up with admissions requirements, go over financial aid, and leave the floor open for questions at the end. And to start, we are one of 9 schools at Johns Hopkins University. We began offering college courses for teachers in 1909, and then we became our own school in 2007. We are proud to share that the Johns Hopkins School of Education is consistently ranked one of the top schools in education by the U.S. News and World Report. And for school enrollment, we have approximately 1,741 students. And we offer 25 graduate programs, and that includes our doctoral, master's, and graduate certificate programs. And we have a network of over 24,000 SOE alums. And for faculty introduction, Dr. Jim Diamond is the faculty lead for the DAILIT program. Dr. Diamond has a Bachelor of Arts and a Master's from Boston University and a PhD from New York University. He is a researcher in the field of digital media learning, focused on the use of educational games to enrich K-12 learning and teaching for students and teachers. Dr. Diamond's experience also includes educational research, design, and evaluation, and his areas of interest include K-12 history, social studies, civics education, STEM education, computational thinking, and disciplinary literacy. And lastly, Dr. Diamond's research has been funded by the National Science Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation, #Digital Media and Learning Initiative, the Gates Foundation, and the Robin Hood Learning and Technology Fund. So at this time, I would like to hand the floor over to Dr. Diamond. Welcome, Dr. Diamond.
Thank you very much, Sion. Thank you very much for that introduction. It's nice to be here with you and James this afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning or good evening, depending on your time zone. It's nice to be here and to spend a few minutes with you this afternoon, introducing you to my program and answering whatever questions you might have. And I second James's comments and enthusiasm about your being here today and your interest in the broad field of technology. I obviously applaud your interest. I am always excited to see people at various points in their academic and professional lives who are considering undertaking what's a pretty significant step in their careers by considering graduate work. And so I'm excited to share my program with you, to share my thoughts about the field, and then most excited to answer your questions toward the end. Briefly, before we start, I will say that it is an exciting time to be considering graduate work in the field of educational technology. I think this has been true for quite some time. In this program, we focus on the use of digital technologies in all formal and informal settings and across the lifespan. So we teach our students, we work with our students to learn theories about human development, about the learning sciences, to apply those theories to the design, development, and implementation of technology-supported tools and environments, and then to evaluate and collect data and make decisions about what that data has to say about the efficacy of those tools, whether and how they're effective in particular settings, and perhaps most importantly, whether and how they're being used ethically and inclusively. So all of those things you will be exposed to, you will consider, you will reflect on, you will collaborate, you will work with your colleagues, you will discuss with faculty members, you may have opportunities to create projects, to participate in internships, perhaps to participate in research. All of these are aspects of what an ideal graduate program in the field of educational technology should be. As you know, educational technology has come to the fore, especially over the past several years, beginning with the pandemic. And in this period where we are now, we've gone through a period of seeing how effective the use of educational technologies can be, not only in online learning environments, but in face-to-face learning environments. But we've also gone through a period of seeing just how challenging it is, how many communities, how many organizations continue to struggle with the effective use of technology. And in some cases do so because of persistent inequities, because of policies that make it difficult, if not impossible, for educators in many different types of systems to adopt technologies, to learn to use them well, and to use them ultimately to the benefit of their students. So again, it's an exciting time. Educational technology is a growing field. The area that the Bureau of Labor Statistics refers to as instructional coordinator, which is a very, very broad umbrella that captures many jobs and careers within the area of educational technology, including instructional technologist, instructional designer, media developer, learning analyst, game developer, curriculum developer, and so on. All of these jobs are projected to grow. All of these careers are projected to grow through at least the end of the decade, and it is reasonable to believe that these areas will continue to grow beyond the end of the decade as society or societies continue to integrate the use of these tools into formal and informal learning settings. So with that, let's begin our presentation. Once again, welcome, and I will talk to you a bit about our program, and then I'll meet you at the end for questions. Okay, so the DALIT program is a fully online asynchronous program, meaning that there are no formal face-to-face meetings that occur at any point during either your graduate degree or your professional certificate. It all occurs online within a learning management system. DALIT offers a graduate degree, a Master of Science in Education, which is a 36 credit or 12 course graduate degree. We also offer a graduate certificate in Leadership and Technology Integration, which is a 15 credit or 5 course graduate certificate. Most of our students complete the program in 1 or 2 years, 1 year in the case of certificate students, 2 years in the case of degree students, but you have up to 5 years from the beginning of your academic program to complete your certificate or degree. We enroll students all 3 terms, spring, summer, and fall. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, this is a very broad field, educational technology, or it's also referred to as instructional systems design, captures an awful lot of careers and jobs and an awful lot of people doing an awful lot of things, right? Including K-12 educators and school leaders, instructional technologists, higher education professionals, including faculty and staff within higher education institutions, organizational leaders, education consultants, and online course developers, among others. Next slide, please. The student body at any given time is approximately 130 students, roughly 100 of whom are active, meaning that they are taking at least one course a term. This tends to hold true from term to term. About 2/3 of our student body are female, about 1/3 are male. In their mid-30s on average. We have students who are younger in their mid-20s. We have students who are older in their mid-50s to mid-60s. 60 to 70% of our students at any given time are K-12 classroom teachers. They are typically early to mid-career, tending closer toward mid-career, meaning that they've been in the classroom for teachers in any event about 5 years or so. And then at any given time, some percentage of the teachers who are pursuing their graduate work with us are looking to change careers. And that's roughly 20 to 25%. And that could mean these are teachers who are looking to leave the classroom in pursuit of leadership positions within school systems at the local, state, or even national level. Some teachers are looking to leave the classroom and formal education altogether and go on to work as instructional designers or curriculum designers, curriculum developers in any number of settings. Next slide, please. Okay, this is just a snapshot of where students are. One of the benefits of online education, although this is true for face-to-face education as well, is that we draw students from all over the country and all over the world. So here you have just a snapshot of where students might be at any given time in the DALIT program. As you can see, they are located throughout the United States of America and indeed in any number of countries around the world. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, as an online program, DALIT lives in a way in the Canvas learning management system. So this Blackboard to Canvas that you see here, Johns Hopkins University previously used Blackboard as its learning management system. We've now transitioned over to the Canvas learning management system. What you see here is a screenshot, a typical screenshot of what a course could look like, or an aspect of a course could look like. I will say this is not the most inviting aspect of a course that lives in a learning management system. And indeed, a great deal goes on within learning management systems and outside of learning management systems in your learning. So this says live and asynchronous, right? So when you take classes, they're all in the learning management system. During any given semester in any given class that you're taking, some sessions will be live. Instructors will hold live seminars. They will hold live presentations. They will hold live discussions. They are not required. The assumption in this program is always that students are working professionals and are scattered throughout multiple time zones worldwide. It simply wouldn't work for us to require students to be in the same place online at the same time. With that said, instructors will encourage students to attend live sessions when they can. The frequency will differ, depend on the instructor and the course. Some instructors hold live sessions weekly. Some do it twice a month. Some do it a few times a term. In any case, live sessions are always recorded and made available to students within several days of the recording session being completed. Asynchronous, meaning that courses proceed on your own timeline to some extent, right? So let me explain that. So this program is currently constructed as not a mastery-oriented program. So it's not a program that opens up courses to you and allows you to move completely at your own pace, such that you might be a student who actually completes a semester-long course in 3 weeks, to pick an example, right? That's not the way that we run this program. Courses are run in sessions, typically 1 or 2 weeks. Sessions are unlocked, as it were, meaning they become available to you online at the beginning of a session. All of the material that you need for a session is available to you. All of the resources that you need for that session are available to you, and you will complete activities and assignments within that session timeline. And that goes on through the end of a course, okay? There is a lot of collaboration in this program. It is a program that is heavy on project-based learning, and at the core of the program's curriculum, at the core of our approach to learning, we believe very strongly in students learning together, students coming together from different professional backgrounds, different academic backgrounds, many backgrounds, and bringing their knowledge together, bringing their interests together, bringing their skills together to learn with one another and to produce with one another. So there's a significant amount of collaboration that goes on in online spaces, both within the learning management system, but using tools that you're probably using in other areas of your life, including various social media platforms, tools like Slack, WhatsApp, any number of tools and platforms that students will use to collaborate together. So while the program is online and asynchronous, there is a very good amount of synchronous live engagement among students as they proceed through the program, including discussion, right? So discussion, as you might be used to, can look like traditional discussion boards within learning management systems, but discussion can also look like live chats. Discussion can also look like students using tools such as Flipgrid to record small responses to one another in what ultimately become strings of dialogue using that sort of tool. So discussion is also a significant amount of the learning of a tool for learning that you will use while you are a student in this program. Next slide, please. This is just a sampling of course titles. You do have access to all of the course titles on the program's external webpage. You can also request a copy of the student handbook at any given time. You can either send me an email, or you can send our academic program coordinator an email, and we can share the student handbook with you, which will give you all of the courses and a description of those courses. But these courses that are here give you the general flavor of the program, right? Obviously, the courses focus very significantly on technology. We have a strong emphasis on the learning sciences, right? We have a strong emphasis on students beginning at the foundation of the program with becoming familiar with general theories of human learning and development, and then beginning to apply those to the design, implementation, and evaluation of the tools and environments that they create and use. There's a strong emphasis on design thinking in this program. We have several courses dedicated to instructional design in online learning and in face-to-face settings. We have a strong thread of leadership and vision development in this program. So for people who either are leaders or are considering becoming leaders, studying certain theories of leadership and then applying those in creating plans and vision, missions, and goals in the use of technologies in educational settings. So again, this is just a snapshot, or just to give you a flavor of some of the courses that are offered in the program. Next slide, please. So this is an example of what a typical graduate program might look like for our students. So nearly all students in the program, meaning at a minimum 90%, are full-time working professionals. We have plenty of students who are either not working or, well, I shouldn't say plenty. We have students who are not working or who are working part-time, but the majority of students are typically working full-time while they are pursuing this graduate degree. And so most of our students are taking 2 courses a semester. So you can see here this hypothetical student taking 2 courses a term over 6 terms for a total of 12 courses. Most students begin with the 2 courses that you see listed under fall 2022, Technology and the Science of Learning, Fundamentals of Design Thinking. These are foundational courses that are intended to introduce students to ideas, to help students develop competencies in the areas of design thinking and in applying theories of human learning to the design and implementation of technology-supported tools and environments. There are here, most of the courses are required. So in our program, you can take up to 2 electives, sometimes in consultation with your academic advisor. You can take up to 3 electives in the degree program. There are no elective opportunities within the certificate program. So the certificate program is baked at the 5 courses that students are required to take. There's more room for electives in the degree program. Okay, next slide, please. So the program includes 3 full-time faculty members, myself, my colleagues, Dr. Chris Devers and Dr. Josh Shusky. We have typically 10, 11, 12 adjunct instructors, most of whom have been teaching in this program for many years, all of whom are working professionals with considerable amounts of expertise in many of the areas that the students who come into this program are either currently working professionally or considering moving into. So we have adjunct instructors who are leaders in the K-12 education space. We have adjunct instructors who are professional instructional designers. We have adjunct instructors who are professional curriculum developers. We have adjuncts who work for the federal government. We have adjuncts who work in different state level education departments. We also have adjunct instructors who are content area specialists. So people whose research and professional work might be in the area of math education or English education, but they are also experts in integrating the use of digital technologies to support those specific content areas. All of our adjuncts are typically working as informal advisors with our students as well. So as you know, one reason to pursue graduate work is not only to develop new knowledge, skills, dispositions, but is also to grow your professional network, is to explore opportunities to look into new areas. And indeed, you don't know what you don't know very often, right? And all of our instructors are here to help you to learn a bit more about what you don't know, right? To discuss their own work, their own professional trajectories, to help you think through whether what you're thinking about as you're going through your graduate program might be a good fit for their area, right? To help you think about combining courses in particular ways or combining the activities within certain courses to help you move your way into a different professional area if that's what you're doing. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I've noted, educational technology is a very broad field. Most of our students are K-12 teachers or are working in the K-12 space. But again, as you are taking courses, you will meet people who are working professionals in higher education. You will meet people who are working as consultants You will meet people who are working as instructional designers in corporate settings and in educational settings. You will meet people who are media producers, and indeed you will meet people who are pursuing different graduate degrees within the School of Education. So again, educational technology is very broad, and it tends to appeal to many, many different people, including graduate students who are not necessarily pursuing a degree in educational technology. So you might take courses with students in the counseling program. You will certainly take courses with students in the teacher education program. You might take courses with students in the administration and leadership program, and so on. So in addition to everything else, you have the opportunity not only to meet, but to work and to think with and to collaborate with people who are also educators, but might be in very different spaces, either from the ones you've been in or are currently in or are thinking about going into. Next slide, please. The advantages of the DALIT program: it is fully online, which certainly over the past few decades has become incredibly important for people pursuing not only graduate degrees, but undergraduate degrees. It is an enormous advantage to be able to stay where you are and to pursue a graduate degree at an institution such as Johns Hopkins University by doing it online. Educational technology is applicable to many careers and industries, and certainly that is only projected to grow over the coming years. You have faculty, as I noted, with significant real-world experience in a range of professions, and that is incredibly important in a professional graduate degree, where in all likelihood, you are pursuing your degree here as a way to move into a new field or to move ahead into your current field, to develop new skills, to deepen your knowledge, to broaden your abilities to think critically and systemically. What you need to develop those skills are opportunities to collaborate, are opportunities to be in discussion with people who are currently working in spaces where those skills are needed and where they have to apply those skills on a regular basis and who can share their experiences with you. So having faculty with real world experience in a range of educational settings is incredibly important in a program like this. And finally, indeed, there is a very strong focus on K-12 education in this program. It is true that over time, we have attracted students from a much broader area. So there was a time in this program's history when it was essentially all K-12 teachers who were pursuing a graduate degree in classroom technology integration. And so while the number of K-12 teachers remains relatively constant, it has in fact slowly over time been decreasing. But the program maintains a strong emphasis and a strong commitment to K-12 classroom education and to helping educators become more effective in their use of digital technologies. Next slide, please. Oh,
all right, thank you, Dr. Diamond. So now we're going to continue by going over the application requirements. Applicants must submit a completed application, which can be found on our school's website. Keep in mind the application fee is $80. We'll need official transcripts, including institutions you may have taken courses but did not receive a degree, excuse me. Again, this is from all post-secondary institutions that you have attended. A 500-word essay must be uploaded. You'll need a current resume or CV, 2 letters of recommendation. We do prefer at least one of your references to be an academic reference from a former instructor or faculty. However, if you're unable to have one academic letter of recommendation, we'll accept 2 professional letters of recommendation. And lastly, the GRE is not required for this program. There are a few additional steps you need to take in order to complete the application process. If you're an international student, you must submit a TOEFL or IELTS score. And if your degree was completed outside of the US, you will need to complete a course-by-course evaluation. Additional information can be found on our school's website. The tuition for the 2022-2023 academic school year is $918 per credit. And for online courses, it is $972 per credit. There's also a $20 per credit technology fee. Please note additional fees apply and are charged separately from tuition. We encourage you to view our tuition fees page on our website for the most up-to-date information on tuition and fees. And if you're interested in applying for financial aid, we strongly encourage you to apply for financial aid when you start your application. And keep in mind, the School of Education, we offer a limited number and partial need-based institutional scholarships each year. SOE's endowed scholarship awards range on average from $500 to $1,500 per semester and are applied to tuition expenses beginning in the fall semester. To apply for the SOE endowed scholarship, students must complete the FAFSA form. To learn if you qualify or have any questions regarding financial aid, please visit our school's website. Thank you for attending the DALID virtual webinar. At this time, we would like to open up the floor for questions. Please type your question in the Q&A box. And while we wait for questions, Dr. Diamond, we do have some frequently asked questions. The first is for the DALID program, Dr. Diamond, do you mind sharing what standards are aligned to this program?
Sure. The program is currently aligned to the standards of two professional organizations. So the main organization is ISTE, the International Society for Technology and Education. The secondary organization is AECT, the Association for Educational Communication and Technology. ISTE tends to be, at least the way we've aligned ourselves with the standards within that organization, tends to be more focused on K-12 education. AECT is a much broader field and focuses rather more on the profession of instructional design. You should note that we are actually in the process of beginning to realign our program learning objectives. So while the standards of ISTE and AECT will continue to inform our program learning objectives, and in fact, we will map to those. We are in the midst of reconsidering our program learning objectives as the field of educational technology continues to change.
Thank you, Dr. Diamond. And what is the delivery format of this program?
So by that, I think what you're asking is it's online. As I explained, it's within a learning management system. So all of the materials are prepared in advance. Things like lectures are recorded. Things like lecture notes are shared. Things like readings are linked within the university library system and made available through electronic reserves. Tools to supplement the learning management system that support things like student synchronous meetings, that support things like students brainstorming together. Those tools are also included within the learning management system. Now, you also have apps such as Zoom. When courses are being held synchronously, when instructors are asking students to come to be together in an online space to talk and work together, we're typically using a tool such as Zoom. But again, students will use any number of tools when they are collaborating on their own time, or even indeed during live sessions. Students may use other online platforms. Does that answer what you're asking about delivery, Sion?
Yes, Dr. Diamond, that was great. And it looks like one of our students just asked a question in regards to program. Dr. Diamond?
Is it in the chat box? Sorry.
Yes, it's in the chat box. Mhm.
Okay, let's see. I'd love to hear more about the advisor role in this program. What kind of communication and support could I anticipate from my advisor if I were to pursue this degree? Excellent question. Thank you. So when students enroll in the program, they are automatically assigned to one of 3 academic advisors. So the full-time faculty in the program all have an advising caseload, as it were. And that's typically between 15 to 20 students, sometimes a little bit more, depending on, if you think about what I was saying earlier about active students at any given time. While there can be as many as 100 active students, they are not necessarily meeting with their academic advisors frequently. At a bare minimum, you have to meet with your advisor once a semester to discuss courses. You're typically meeting with your advisor more frequently than that, depending on what you set up with your advisor. And that's not only to plan your academic program, that's also to be thinking about your future career goals. That's you asking your advisor to help expand your professional network. That's you working with your advisor to explore opportunities in internships or to participate in research, or indeed perhaps even to pursue publications or conference presentations, depending on the work that you're doing. Those relationships, those advising relationships, often extend beyond your time in the graduate program. Right? It's not unusual for students to remain in contact with their graduate advisors for years beyond their time in the program. People become colleagues, people continue to rely on one another, and it works both ways, right? Because as you move out from the program, you become a graduate of the program, you become a program alum, and you become an incredibly valuable resource, right? In turn, you might become a mentor. You might be in touch with the program to give us leads on potential internships or job opportunities. And so the advisement model is very much at the heart of developing those relationships. The last thing I'll say is that it is not only the full-time faculty members who are acting as academic advisors. Again, these adjunct instructors who are working professionals in many different fields are also critical informal advisors to students, right? Often faculty members who are academics, right? Who are engaging in scholarship and are researchers. That's a particular area within higher education, but that's not necessarily going to meet the needs for all of our students. And in that case, we rely very heavily on our adjunct instructors to serve as informal advisors to do all of the things that I just discussed.
Thank you, Dr. Diamond. And would you say for this degree, would you need to have a background in education in order to apply for the DALIT program?
It's not essential, it's helpful. We do have students who do come in from non-education backgrounds. We've had students who come in with engineering backgrounds. We've had students who come in from business backgrounds in their undergraduate careers. And certainly the courses are set up to ensure that all students are coming out of the early part of their program with the same foundational knowledge and competencies. With that said, you can find that certain courses or instructors make assumptions about background knowledge in education or indeed professional experience or expertise within the field of education. So that is very helpful. It's also very helpful if you're working in the education space because you have opportunities to put into practice what you're learning as you're going. So it's not necessary, it's helpful. And typically when students come in who don't have a formal educational background, either in their academic experience or in their professional experience, their advisors will work with them to either point them in the direction of certain essential ideas or best practices with which they should be familiar, so that they feel that they can participate fully in the learning experience.
And finally, Dr. Diamond, are you accepting applications for the summer 2023 start term?
Yes, we are. I don't remember the end date for that off the top of my head, but yes, we are accepting applications for the summer 2023 term.
Thank you. All right, looks like there are no more questions. Here on this slide, we have some important contact information. Any admissions related questions about your application, please reach out to my colleague, James McCarty. And any program related questions, please reach out to Ms. Lisa McNeil. Her email address is on this slide. Thank you again for your interest in the Johns Hopkins School of Education. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.